Yeah, doing a outdoors video. Yeah, it's really something. Yeah, we'll go out and look around a little bit. I've been raking the roof extensively. Oh, pretty much, just because yeah, it's bad. And all these trees are really low. Can't get through here. But it is pretty, but it's pretty horrific. You know, still have electricity and water, but that's a lot of snow. A lot of snow. Yeah, these neighbors over there were in the newspaper. Maybe I'll link to the newspaper article. Yeah, the newspapers are so full of shit. But anyway. But yeah, this is like kind of deep. Yeah, it's like, you know, I don't know. You know, we already had snow, so it's this extra foot of it. The new stuff. So anyway, more look around. That's an apple tree there. It's all totally flattened. So I really am surprised. But, you know, we've had all these horrible storms, so I guess the electric grid is a lot more durable than it used to be. But, yeah, well, I might have dodged a bullet, as they say. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, winter. All the way. All the way. I gotta cut these down, I guess. Got these cedar trees too close to the house. Anyway. Oh, it is kind of pretty, though. You have to admit, you know, that white does kind of clean everything up. But it's really going to be obnoxious cleaning this mess up. So anyway, just a little update. I'll add this to some kind of stupid video. And that'll be all for now. There's my snow blower. I thought it was out here. I lost it. Oh, interesting. Really should be here. I don't see it. It really should be. Maybe I took it inside. Probably did. Yeah, so it'll be ready. Until next time. Alright, survived so far. Yes, still have power. And water and heat. And all that stuff. So yeah, it's kind of amazing. Anyway, I just found out about this video. I don't really know who this guy is, but he's sort of popular. He does get a lot of views. So, I shall respond. Right? Hopefully there's no ad.
Greetings to you, Crocodile Army.
Oh,
there are a few people on YouTube who've always puzzled me a bit. One such person is someone I have not mentioned in a video in nearly 4 years.
Wow.
The last occasion I had to do so was a video I did with Azrianok when he was hanging out at my house back in March of 2010. Inmendham, also known as Do Not God, is someone who may remind you of the very eccentric uncle you may never have had. His flowing golden locks of hair...
Whatever. This is some sort of speech you wrote for your acceptance of at the American Douchebag Awards, or what? Come on. Jeez, isn't this all a little pretentious? Could have found a better picture than that, probably, but yeah, lately I haven't worked very hard at my image lately, I have to admit.
And bombastic, in-your-face style are kind of an old-school YouTube atheist institution. He's also an anti-natalist. That means he would, if he could, hit the so-called red button and wipe out all life on the planet.
Yeah, well, that's really not anti-natalism, strictly speaking. That's like immediate exterminationism or something, or you know, severe I hate your fucking gutsism. But obviously, yes, if it came to it, I would hit it just because you really don't have time to talk about it. Sometimes you have to just do something, because if you waste time talking about it, you might fail. It's like that James Bond syndrome, right? You know, the villains always make the mistake of having a conversation with James Bond and giving him time to figure out some way of escaping instead of just shooting him in the fucking head. And so yes, I would hit the red button, not because I don't want to have a conversation, not because I don't want to convince everybody that's the right thing to do, but because you just got to take advantage when you have the chance. Yeah, so you don't fail. Yeah, but that's all. I mean, really, I'm not afraid of the argument. So anyway, he has annotations here. The red button thing is actually effalism, which is related to, but not the same as antinatalism. Right, antinatalism, strictly speaking, is mostly about human procreation. We really don't call it nataling, I guess, when it's certain kinds of animals or whatever. Effalism is just a concession that the game, it's life spelled backwards, that life itself is backwards, that it's fucked in the head. The whole idea of this whole consumption reproduction thing is just a self-serving, self-justifying cycle of crap. Cycles are stupid. It's a stupid cycle like tornadoes. Tornadoes are cycles. No good. Bad news.
At least all animal life, including the human animal, and he encourages extinction of humanity through lack of reproduction. The question, of course, is why would he want to do this?
Well, because things suffer, really. Gee, it's so complicated. Why would somebody say it isn't a great thing for things to suffer for absolutely no accomplishment, to keep going over and over and over again the same bullshit routine, like, I'm super special and I'm conscious and I'm contemplating the universe. There, hasn't that already been done a million times? Haven't we all done the sunset thing enough times? Yeah, it's just not worth torturing some more people so you can do your silly sunset thing.
What would it gain, especially when nearly everyone wants to live?
Nearly everyone wants to live. No, nearly everyone doesn't want to die. That one you might be able to say with some sort of confidence. This wanting to live thing really requires some sort of context or perspective. So if you really gave them clearly you were put in a condition where death wasn't the alternative to living, which is always tricky, right? Or that it was such a clean transition, or you've been there and you've checked it out, and you recognize that it's really harmless there. It wouldn't be so scary then, right? So I mean, I'm just saying, if the exit door was completely open and available, maybe people wouldn't be quite so panicked about trying to make this work.
Short answer is that he says life is torture. To that I say, speak for yourself. If life is torture, then give me more, baby.
Yeah, well, whatever. So this is, you're really not going to concede it, huh? You're not going to concede that some 6-year-old kid never asked to be here, gets leukemia or something, goes through chemo, bone marrow transplants, all this other crap, and you think your coolness, your little poofy-doo hairdo or something, makes up for it. Right, and then let's not even go into all the animals that live in horror every fucking day to feed your little habits. And you want to just, give me more, baby. Give me more, baby. You haven't died yet, have you? Have you gotten cancer and died yet? No, apparently you haven't. And so you want more, and you haven't even gotten the real meal yet. Okay, you haven't gotten the bill for the meal. You haven't even tasted the first bite realistically of where it can really go, the depths of where it can go. And you're just going to say, yeah, give me more. You haven't seen enough. You need to see more. You need to see World War III. World War II didn't scare you. All right, that didn't scare you at all. We dropping bombs on the Japanese, that doesn't bother you or give you pause. Fukushima blowing the fuck up, that didn't bother you. That doesn't give you any pause.
Someone sent me a video of Inmendham's recently and included a note that went into some detail about how Inmendham goes about justifying his stance on antinatalism. Inmendham sees life as being about suffering, and sees the elimination of...
Well, that's all kind of just crap. What he sees is life is about bullshit. Absolute fucking bullshit. And then there's this pile of suffering that's paid for it. So for your silly Olympic Games, and your silly World Series, and your silly Super Bowls, and your silly other bullshit, this crap you make up, your Oscars and your other, whatever, glorification of nonsense, yes, there's a price paid for that. Some Chinese guy going to work 18 hours a day and then get his arm cut off and then getting thrown on the street and living in a box. And then getting run over probably and no one giving a fuck. Yeah, that's the price paid for it. And fucker, maybe it should happen to you next time, right? Maybe you should wake up, in Indonesia.
Life on the planet as resulting in a net reduction in suffering for our own good, even if that's not what we want.
Even if it's not what we want. Well, give me the explanation then. What's your justification? Explain to me what you've done in your life to justify torturing some kid who never asked to be here, who doesn't find your ambitions at all interesting at all, and just ends up suffering with some sort of disability or debility. What have you done? Oh, that's right, absolutely nothing. I mean, yeah, I could show you all kinds of videos of the animals that die every day so you can breathe oxygen. What have you done? Show me. Show me what you've done to justify torturing them. Nothing.
It sounds a little bit like that old Christian saw about God loving us so much that if we don't believe in Him, we burn for eternity for our own good.
Oh, I think you're the one talking the religious tripe, like somehow the Creator made your life. No, you're a fucking 4 billion year old evolved worm, shithead. Show me what you do in your life that's better than a worm. Okay, in theory. You're a worm with an ego and a funny hairdo. That's what you are. Kind of a fat worm.
But I'll assume that's not how he means it exactly. I think life to many people is a series of obstacles that you can generally get around in numerous creative and often fun ways.
Right. Bone marrow transplants are fucking creative and fun. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Even if you see it as a game because the universe can't last forever, I'm not going to be bashful about getting on the field and playing during the one chance I'm going to get.
Yeah, it's not about you. Is it? Is that you're the human race, and because you're a deluded retard chasing your pink balloon, we should all say, "Oh, that's just brilliant." Let's see if the retard can, fall on its face in the dog shit, and then it can eat some of the dog shit because it's retarded, and still think it's a winner. The fact that you think you're winning, okay, doesn't mean anything. You don't have any rational argument to defend it. You're addicted to Cheetos, obviously something else maybe, and you're chasing it, all right? And you're doing it in this moronically wasteful manner, okay, torturing little sentient creatures all the way along, and with a silly, stupid, glib smile on your face. So that's what you are. You're proud of that? Well, I'm humiliated that you're human. I'm humiliated. Yeah, you're an insult to intelligence. What, it takes all these brain cells for you to ignore the truth? You're a flatworm with radar and a vocabulary? Ugh. Pitiful.
Of course, if you're one of those people who's consistently not enjoying life due to depression, serious illness, or whatever else is ailing you, then yes, life is going to look a lot different to you than it does to me. And I would expect...
Well, again, I would expect me to say, how did I get here? Did somebody ask my permission? No, they didn't. I got here because of some deluded butthead who talks about, I'm doing swell, so I figure my kids will do swell too, and I figure everything's going to be just fine because I live on hope, a religious concept. I wish on a star and everything will be fine. Is that how you play? Right? You play with somebody else's welfare based on your perception of hope. I'll gamble with their life. Yeah, fuck you. You suck.
that. I think even if I were having a miserable life, though, I would understand that not everyone is going to feel the way I do about life, due to our different experiences.
And that still wouldn't mean that silly little turd balls like you are doing something to justify any of it, okay? If you guys were actually doing something, you life livers, besides watching American Idol and wanking on your little tiny dicks, I might say, okay, it's worth it because you're doing something, but you're not doing anything. You're fucking chasing your own ass. You're accomplishing nothing but satisfying silly delusions in your head that, ooh, if I do this, if I buy myself a t-shirt with writing on it, I'll be cool. And if I comb my hair back, I'll be cool. And no one will notice that I'm fat. Right? And I'm supposed to say that's worth something. I don't think that's worth a fucking tree sloth stubbing its toe. I don't.
That's where empathy comes in. In the Inmendham video that was sent to me, he was responding to another YouTuber who was talking about empathy, among other things, and its role in this discussion.
Blah, blah,
I think
blah,
it may
blah,
have
blah.
been presented in the sense that humanity has value because of our ability to have empathy. But to me, it just means...
Oh, right. Your ability to have empathy in what way? Oh, you mean the white people? Empathy how? Show me this empathy in the world. Show it to me, please. Silly person.
that we are able to put ourselves in the place of another person and imagine what life
Well, obviously, we're not able to put ourselves in any of the places that absolutely suck. That's why 3 billion people are living on a dirt floor or under a dirt ceiling. Yes, because all you people have so much fucking empathy. You spent more on your t-shirt, okay, than the entire healthcare budget for a family of 10 in Africa. Fuckhead. So tell me about your empathy.
must be like for them. Inmendham doesn't seem at all happy with life, but he seems unwilling to use his human ability to understand that maybe others don't have the same...
No, I understand, okay? The point is, if I see some silly alien creature, okay, pulling on one of its tentacles, in some jerk-off manner, I'm going to call it what it is. All right, jackass? The fact that you're jerking your ego off, okay, I'm not impressed. Shithead.
life he does. He would probably tell you that when he puts himself in the shoes of another, he does this with the most destitute and helpless in the world, the starving children in a third world country, for instance, instead of a human being of average means.
And average means is what on planet Earth? You want to tell me what the average means is on planet Earth? Go ahead and describe that life to me and tell me how swell it is. How many hours do they work? How much retirement do they collect? How much golden years? How much health care for these average on Earth? Which is irrelevant anyway, because as you've pointed out in the description, or, well, in the annotation, that you're not even accounting for all the life on Earth and how it's living on Earth. Because you're going to pretend it's all a fun game. Yes, it's all the fun super yellow submarine ride through the universe. It's not 4 billion years of consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, and addiction. No, you'll just deny that to play out your fable of accomplishment. And it is a fable of accomplishment.
He spoke repeatedly about children being tortured in his video. In his world, human achievements are irrelevant because they're ephemeral and will be worthless. I guess because humanity will not last forever, yet suffer.
Well, whatever. Humanity in what form, right? When was the last time we were civilized? You want to tell me when that was? Yeah, that's some of the good news, is that you are doomed. The bad news is assholes like you are going to just drag it out that much longer than it needs to be dragged out. Way to go. Way to prolong the torture, fuckhead.
Is real. The good stuff is worthless and the bad stuff is real and really, really bad. Got it.
No, you don't got it. Obviously, your glib attitude demonstrates that you don't got it. And I can only say I hope you get it, okay? I hope you get the fucking worst of it, and then you can make your video, okay? When you have a fucking brain tumor that shoves your little eyeballs out of your fucking head, alright? Then make me a video about how it's all worth it. How the stupid, idiotic notions in your deluded, silly, egomaniacal, fucking fuck-faced head were fucking worth it then, okay? Go ahead and be Mr. Glib then, fuckhead. Shit. You haven't even come close to living. You haven't done anything, obviously, to maintain your life. You're probably a walking heart attack. You probably have cholesterol over 300. So what are you being Mr. Glib for? It'll be your turn soon enough, shithead. Then make the video.
Just to be clear, the argument he is making is not about mere overpopulation, and I in turn am not making the argument that you personally should have children or not. I think having kids is a personal decision.
Wow, that's just so fucking brilliant. Oh yeah, you can't even come close to figuring it out. There's the most important question in the world. Well, is life worth it or not worth it? And you can't make a decision. And then you're sitting there insulting people who have made a decision. Like somehow they're not doing it right because they're not confused like you. Yeah, I mean, it really isn't that complicated, okay? It's like an air conditioner or any other kind of machine. Here's a living thing, conscious. It's vulnerable to all these kind of things that can happen to it. Now, you either think that's a great idea or you don't think it's a great idea. You either think there should be more life on Earth or you don't. But to sit there and glibly say, oh, well, it's just let any retard make up their choice. Go ahead, flip a fucking coin. That's all it's worth. I can't figure it out. I'm too fat and stupid. I mean, fuck you.
And assuming you're not purposely having children beyond your means, those who tell you that you're selfish for doing so.
Well, obviously, most of the goddamn world that's breeding right now is having children beyond their means. Have you not even figured that out, you fucking idiot? Have you heard of idiocracy? Have you heard of Mama Tutu or whatever, Baba Golden Pissheads? Have you heard of white trash? Have you heard of shit that people are living in right now? Moron? Fucking get a clue. Most of the fucking humans being born right now are being born in shitholes where you should have to live, you fuckhead.
So, or for not doing so, should be summarily ignored and told to go live their own lives. I can't think of any third world countries that I would rather have lived in 2 centuries ago than today.
I can't think of any third world countries I'd rather lived in. Did that make any sense? No. He wrote it and it still didn't make any sense, right? That didn't make any sense to me. Let's replay it. I don't think it made any sense. It's a goddamn script and it still didn't make any sense.
I'd rather have lived in 2 centuries ago than today, despite having many
There's
more
no
people living
country
in
he
today.
would have rather lived in 2 centuries ago than today. No, I'm sorry. Sorry. I mean, I guess he just doesn't understand that most of the people 2 centuries ago at least weren't living next to Fukushima. So you want to live in Fukushima, fuckhead? You want to live in some African country? You know, where, you know, your life expectancy has gone down, not up.
So clearly there are numerous other factors in play other than population when it comes to standard of living, which is a concept that I expect should track closely to Inmendham's idea of...
Well, then you're pretty stupid, right? Because the two things, poverty and procreation, run just right next to each other, parallel, okay? Make a country dumb and you'll make it reproduce, okay? Make it poor and you'll make it reproduce. That's what we accomplished in the Middle East. We're the highest reproductive rates in the Middle East. Oh, just it happens to be Afghanistan and Iraq. 2 countries we fucked up.
the level of suffering present in a population. I can't see this philosophy holding up in the mind of anyone who doesn't think their life sucks.
Right. Anyone who doesn't have any kind of rational sensibilities and any kind of capacity to see past their own deluded ego. Oh yes, it's all worth it. I will have a child so it can have silly ambitions, chase bullshit cheese, and die. Have you thought about how your children should die, shithead? The children you sanction the existence of, you're basically saying, go ahead, have kids. Well, do you want to sit there and actually explain when they're dying horribly how that was worth it, or that was the right thing to do, or when they get cancer, 2 days after they have their first child? No, you're not going to do any of that because you're a weasel and a chicken shit.
In order to agree on this, Inmendham will have to convince most of the rest of the world that life sucks, or we...
Most of the rest of the world's on Prozac or alcohol or some other get-me-through-the-dayer, aren't they? Isn't that what most of the rest of the world is doing? All right, so don't tell me that most of the people living in the gulag, so to speak, are the only reason why they are playing the game is because the intelligentsia doesn't have the brains to tell them the truth. It just keeps them in their deluded ignorance and living in their silly worlds of silly gods and silly purposes and silly constructs. But if they actually had to realize, oh, we're just evolved worms. Oh, okay, worms with more tools to be wormy with. Oh, I get it. That's not great. But they don't really have that opportunity, and that's where most of the world is being bred in, is ignorant religion. Is that a fact you're going to dispute somewhere either? That the people who have walked away from religion are less likely to breed? Do you not recognize that truth? So why don't you insult atheists while you're at it, asshole? Because the more atheist you are, the more likely you are not to breed. Gee, jackass, did you think of that one too?
can all convince Inmendham that life is worth living. I like...
That's not the subject. It's whether you have a right to impose it on something, whether you're competent to be a creator. And as you have acknowledged, you can't figure it out. You have no fucking clue. And yet you're saying, go ahead, let any asshole, I don't care how dumb he is, I don't care how stupid he is, he's entitled to his opinion. And you're telling me that's what intelligent people do. That's how intelligent people drive the bus. No, I think you're a passenger on the fucking yellow bus.
The latter option. So let's start now. Happy Valentine's Day, Gary, you big goofball. I know.
Hey, you want me to call you something? You tubby flabby boy? Weird query person?
Love you, Gary, but you're special.
Cartoon. How exciting. Comment and subscribe. Miss recent videos. Join the cock army or whatever. Cock and duck army. Douchebags everywhere. Oh, this is really horrible, isn't it? I mean, what is it? Every icon. Look, I gotta make my own icons. But I guess that shit works. I suppose. That works for atheists. Atheists have to tell each other to subscribe. So maybe I will do this comment section. Yeah, maybe I'll save that for later, though. Yes, Machine Ghost Guy. Gary has never said dwell in misery. He said don't have children. Ah, exactly. Excellent. But realistically, if you're going to be at all fair to the game, you're going to have to dwell in some misery, man. There's just no way to look at the real game and not be a little bit upset if you have any kind of rational sensibilities. I mean, you know, those basic sensibilities, like you can tell the difference between, oh, I recognize that I love my sister and brother more because they're my sister and brother, not because they're necessarily better people. So if you have like that rational ability not to be a bigot and to extend your circle of caring, okay, beyond your prejudice and bigotry. So if you're intelligent enough not to be a bigot, a nepotistic bigot, yeah, it's not that hard to be a little bit down on what's going on in the world. Fuck, I hate these cunts. Yeah, I really do. Scum, 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 scum. Scum, 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 scummity scum, 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 scum. I hope they get what they deserve. I hope you get every fucking millimeter of what you deserve. Yeah. Hard in the ass and such. But this is why the human race will suffer. Humans will suffer because humans are assholes. So that's basically we have to pay the penalty for being conscious and you know, having a membership organization that absolutely sucks. It's like being an Obama Democrat. You just loser all over the place.